welcome. You're joining us on NewsX. I'm Parati Bhanot and you're tuned into a very special show today because we have with us the team of Mukhbir, the story of a spy. We have the actors with us, but we also have the directors, and they're going to help us understand what the shooting of the show has been like and what to expect further. Joining us today, we have Prakash Raj. We also have Adil Hussain, who are the actors in the show, and we have with us the directors as well. Shivam Nair joins us on the broadcast, as well as Jayprat Desai. If I can just take my first questions from you, Ms. Shivam as well as Jayprat sir. Did you always know that you wanted to, were you clear on the cast that you wanted for the show? Or, were there multiple screen tests that happened after which you decided on who to narrow down or zero down on?
The both actors, Prakash ji and Adil?
Yes.
No, the beginning onwards we have decided for the Prakash ji. With the story we started, I thought, okay, for this character, I decided. But the Adil sir, later when we completed the script, we thought of Adil sir is the right choice for this role.
Were there screen tests? Did you have to give
No,
a screen
no. Why
test?
we don't need any screen test for that. We need any screen, no.
And what was your first reaction, Adil sir, as well as Prakash sir, when you saw the script for the first time?
Let's do it. I love spy genre films right from my childhood, so there was no question of, and when we read the story, and the story is amazingly written, and story as well as he's going to say it, he's an extremely good speaker, so I'm going to leave it to him, and rest should be told by the directors. But I love the human story in it, and yeah, and I'm playing somebody who is who's sort of the great grandest grandfather of intelligence community of India, who sort of gave birth to the idea of surveillance and protecting our nation.
What about you? So what was your first reaction when you saw the script?
It was a story, a very human story. It is a story about the unsung heroes. We talk about spies. Yeah. When we talk about spies, we see who are these? The ones who will never be recognized, who should not be known they are spies in their own country, nor to the countries they go. Yeah. And whatever they achieve will not be recognized for reasons which is very clear about being a spy. And if they get caught, we will never know who went in or went came. So it was a very interesting genre. But what I saw in the film was the journey of a human journey of a spy, I play a role of Murthy, who at that period of time, because it is in a historic, very important phase of Indian history, in the 60s and 70s, when we were battered with wars and we were coming up to standing, then we couldn't afford too much economic crises, but then we still had to be prepared to know what the other man is thinking. And there was no technology, so it was an uncanny, out-of-the-box thinking officer who works under him to pick up a common man, mentor him as a spy, and then send him into an unknown territory and still see to it, because the whole drama which is there of a spy, his journey of unbecoming himself, and then what happens is he actually solves the war between two countries. But what about the war within that person? How changed a person he would be, a person who has never kills, and he is supposed to be a patriot for this nation, but he has killed another patriot of another nation. And he would have lied, he would have cheated with his own people, with his own relationships, and the turmoil, and it changes the whole, at the end, the questions that spy asks, that human character which has grown into us, and the dilemma was very interesting for me, which says that this is the stories of so many unsung, because the whole concept of heroes have changed, Over the period of time, we look at films which is based on heroes, but this is a story where a common man becomes a hero because of the situations he gets in, the way he's chiseled with different experiences. And it also throws light, though it is a spy drama, has the genre, which is an edge of the seat thriller, at the same time as a journey of a person. And also it probably in some ways sensitizes us to look into who are the heroes around us. It could be a farmer, it could be a mother, it could be a teacher, who are unsung at all, And then like who is a real hero? You know, hero is not the one who wins, who loses to make a society win, to make a country win. And I think it's a very interesting web series. It's a journey. It is happening. It is organic. Yeah.
It's also, based on true events, right? It's not a true story, but it's based on true events. So, I want to ask you and Mr. Jaiprad, how did you manage to take instances from real life and then turn them into a storyline which would resonate with the people? It would somewhere click, but it wouldn't exactly be factually
right. No, but that is actually the fun and the challenge of this genre, as we call it historical fiction. It is inspired from a book called Mission to Pakistan by M.K. Dhar. But it's not, it's fiction, in fact, is something which is based on reality, but then you build upon it, So it derives from a lot of real events that happen. It does have a lot of real people who in the backdrop, real events in the backdrop. But what we are trying to weave using these is a fictional story. And that is actually the challenge of it, because at the core of it are people, are human beings like us, who are vulnerable, who get anxious about the situations they are in, who have to make choices, who are in dilemmas, who have to, as Sir said, carve out their own journey. And this is something which tells a very exciting story. So this is what we were drawn to. As storytellers, that is what we seek. We seek interesting, inspiring stories to tell. And I think this, gave us one.
So, Shivam sir, you've also directed Naam Shabana, right? And while they're both a little similar, that's a film. It gets over in 3 hours. This is a web series. Once the first season comes out, we're going to hope for the second one also, and then there's a third. How different is it to
Naam Shabana is more is a plot-oriented story. There's a plot, and there's a beginning, middle, and end. There's a feature film, right? In this series, we have lots of character into these stories, this series, and we have lots of characters with the arc. Every character has got an arc there, and the whole writing is completely different from the Naam Shabana. So the journey of every individual character we know while watching it. So that's a completely different from Naam Shabana or other special laws we have done. It's completely different from those series.
So, when you started shooting for the film, and I want to ask you, Adil sir, what was it like to get into the character? And I want to ask Prakash sir also this, because, it's one thing what we see, but as an actor, the journey to get into the character, to be, delivering a role in which you're going to be a senior security officer. What was that journey like?
I always start with, because I don't know this man. You can read a little bit here and there about it, I did that. But most of the time, not most of them, always, I look at it that, okay, the truth is, Adil, I cannot forget myself. If I forget myself, it will be a lie. If I say I lost in the role. Yeah, you are supposed to be aware who you are. So this is the truth, that I am Adil, who is playing Ram Kishore Negi. So truth must be accepted, embraced, and then a layer of the role that I'm playing. So I'm Adil playing, if I am in this situation, how would I behave first? And then slowly, as you start relating the circumstances, situations written by, as you read, written by the writer, director, and director comes in with a lot of help. And then you slowly bend, if you can tilt toward Ram Kishore Negi, at least till the end of the shoot. That would be wonderful if you can get it before the shoot. But it so happens that in the culture of filmmaking in India is such that you don't get much time to prepare. So what happens is towards the end, by the time you got the role, shoot is done and you have to live with it. So I always do that. I first of all accept that I'm Adil playing Ram Kishore, and then I don't speak the way generally Ram Kishore would speak, because the words are different. It's written by something else. The vocabulary is different. The sentence construction is different. The situation is different, and you accept what is happening in the circumstances, followed by the director's instruction, and you and people start believing. You have already the director has already put you in a particular context. So if something happens magical, it's fantastic. If it doesn't happen, then you have to live with it.
Do you also, sir, walk onto the
Now, this
set?
I approached very differently, and like I do a lot of films, because when the script came in and I saw a lifespan, I saw a journey, and I fell in love with the role which I was doing, you know, that guy, Murthy. And luckily, the director, the writers had created a space. And for me, like a childlike enthusiasm I had was, this happened something before I was born. This happened in my country. And it was so believable because of what the country was going through. There was a situation. But then, out of that, they made a whole beautiful human story. So I just went with the flow. And unlike him, I did not, while being on the sets, I think he remembers, I started becoming that for a minute. And the way these guys had written, I followed so much of his traits, you will see. Shivam, without his knowledge, I just saw him because I saw his passion, I saw his commitment, and so much of his honesty to tell a story. And Murthy has that detailing, going into details. And Murthy thinks, these people shot it in between lines. The film was very pregnant with so many things. So it was very exciting for me. That scooter, that helmet, and that little things, his carrier, his relationship with his wife. They have no children, and then there is this country, and he is a little ahead. He is ahead, and he has no technology around him, so he can't have a trained spy. So with his, he picks up somebody who's intelligent enough, whom he thinks he's got a chameleon-like character. But he knows what he's doing, so he trains him, sort of owns him, as he says in his own words, that his son. Then he sends him through the journey, and then like a father who's a mentor, watches him going through. Probably he's ready to pick up the phone in the night, waiting for him, and knowing that he has thrown him into a place where he may not be prepared, and just crossing his fingers, waiting that his character will solve the issue and get out of it. And in the end, when he meets that man, when the whole mission is over and he has given what we have been able to stop a war, then he knows that because of pushing him into the situation, he has made that boy get chiseled and become a completely different man. And he has no answers to his questions. But then he has answers, but they are very bitter answers, with something we'll have to come to terms with this thing. And I love the whole arc, and this particular role, I can very clearly say I approached it totally different. I surrendered, there was joy, there was nice to be in another era of my thing, and I just loved it, and I had to live in those periods. There's so much of honesty, so much of tangibility and life and organic way this film was written, and the intention of making those films was there. And then I'll tell you example, because especially the Zion was, see here I am a known actor, he's a known actor. But actually, we are here promoting the film. Yeah. This is the spirit of the film, actually. Actually, the hero of the film is that boy who's not known yet. Like how a hero comes out of a story. You will see that boy really come out of a story. And I saw the boy in real from the first day I shot till the last day I was shooting. And there was a considerable growth in that boy. As a person, as an actor, as perceptive skills and maturity. And I think if a film, if a role, if a journey like this in making a film, a work of art, can change so many things in a person, which is the intent of the story too. And I think this slice of life will have a great connect with the audience.
And you know, I've seen the teaser, and the teaser sort of ends with that Morse code that is being sent. It gives you goosebumps to even think of something like that. And we've spoken so much about emotions. You know, all of you have talked about how the story is going to bring out emotions. It's an emotional journey. As a director, and I want to ask you both this, is it tough sometimes to bring the emotion out on the screen, especially stories like this, which are very heavy, which have a lot of, you know, national pride associated with them in a certain way?
No, I think apart from the national pride, you know, to get the essence of the story, as Prakash was saying, the spirit alive, you know, get it elevated from the paper is something that all of us strive for all our life. But the process itself, as I said, it teaches you, you know. After a time, you don't make the film is making you. You know, it's like a mother gives birth to a child, but the child gives birth to the mother. She becomes a mother after the child is born, you know. So it's a two-way process. And I think the only way to do it is if you're honest to it, it tells you do this to me, this is how I want to be made. So the only thing you can do, or the only thing that you can know, is give yourself 200% to it. And then it makes itself. It's like the sculptor, there is in the stone, there is that the art is hidden inside it. The sculptor just has to, shove away the dust, and then, the art emerges. So we just had to do that, in a way.
So what about you?
See, in this process, I learned one thing, because in the whole series, when we wrote the script, and I was continuously looking for the subtext into all the characters. While doing the rehearsal or thinking on the character, or some actor just told them to just look for the subtext in between the lines, what is hiding inside. So some people got it, and I think that is the performance come out at a different level. That can be seen very real also, and lots of actors, they perform very well. Like Jain, while shooting, he was exploring himself from inside those, in between the lines, kind of a thing.
So how much does an actor bring to the role, in the sense bring to the role, in the sense, of course you have your directors who are going to tell you, we want this like this, we want that a little bit like that, but how much freedom is there, how much artistic freedom exists to sort of bring your own to the role that you're performing?
It will depend upon who you're working with, I guess. Some directors are very rigid. Okay, this is the way you have to. I have worked with one of the directors at least like that. But here, if I talk about this particular project, Mukhbir, I think the springboard, or it's a landscape that they have created, and you draw, you paint. You're looking at the landscape and you paint. The painting is different than the landscape that you're looking at and painting. So the landscape was already so beautiful, and the personal experiences of the person who is playing a role, people like, he brings in a wealth and a reservoir of experiences and knowledge and wisdom into it. And both of them facilitated all the actors, I'm sure, but most of the scenes that I had with him, so we saw each other very well, and I didn't feel that I was like acting or something, just you're doing it, it's happening. You become, you surrender to the situation, the circumstances. Like maybe the same scene we're shooting another take within next moment. Maybe when I look at Prakash ji, he's looking at me differently, so one is to just respond to that. So it's being in the moment, responding, and not even reacting, but responding to the moment. And then both of them will say, done. So I trust that probably it's done. I would like to have one more, but they say, no, or whatever the reasons are. He got it, they got it, whatever. So I don't take much credit or responsibility. I take responsibility.
But you had great jugalbandi, you're saying. What was that?
I will take his own metaphor, what he said. Cinema or a script is a painting.
Yes.
It's a visual painting, and actor is one of the colors in the painting. So he just has to behave that color. But the point is, how much do you add in between lines? How much do you understand the whole painting? Only when you understand the whole painting will you understand what sort of color were you chosen to, what you have to say. But that much of little clarity. For that, only then you will understand the importance of all of it. It may be a small just line, a grey line, but then you have to be just the grey line. It takes a lot to become just that. And that is why it is together. Everybody together make a film. So everybody, it's contribution of a lot of people. It could be. See, if a director has a story, now that story has to be told by the cameraman, with his art, an actor by his art, a writer by his writing, production designer who does art, by a costumer who will costume. A same story is told by so many crafts.
So many people, yes.
And if all of them are in
sync,
then you get the painting. One of them tries to be different, or one of them underplays it, or one of them is not in the rhythm. It doesn't know. And these sort of films happen. It is not the actors and the technicians or their art or their craft or their gifts which make the film. It is the people behind it, who believe in it, who experience it.
Yes.
Because you may have a lot of paint, but you are not a painter. You know, language may have the same grammar, but what is it pregnant with is more important. Who is speaking that? You know, what are we saying that? And I think that commitment to what that film, what that painting, what that work is pregnant with, which is not written in a line, but it's an experience. If we all can see it, understand it, and then be honest and simple and do it, then I think it's...
So I want to ask you something else, and you've spoken so much about the emotional journey that you also went through. Was it ever taxing to play a role, play such a heavy role, and then go back to your room and then think, have I done justice to this? Was that ever overwhelming? I mean, I'm sure you have so much experience.
Yeah. Some films stay with you, linger on. Definitely, Murthy stays with me. Not because of the pain, not because of the thing. The sensitivity he has brought to me as a person. The way I start looking at things. He has brought a little more calmness into me, a little more sharpness in trying to understand certain things. Other than the payment, other than the name I'm going to get in this thing, I have something to take back home. He's not haunting, he's enriching me. But there are certain roles which haunt you because you've lived a moment which is not yours. Because an actor's life is to live many lives in one life. To be able to, in a situation, he may never be in a situation and see it in different angles. And if that can sharpen his perceptions of life, if it can make him more beautiful or more deep or more matured or more empowering, that is something wonderful. But this film, this Murthy doesn't haunt me, but he enriches me.
Enriches you. What about you, Adil? So what was the experience?
Oh God, yeah. I had been a fanatic method actor, and I played Othello for 10 years. It haunted the hell out of me. But then I learned how to come to a space within which is lighter, like in traditional Kathakali or Kudiyattam or classical storytelling form. Like a Kudiyattam actor comes to the stage and says, "I'm happy, and I'm going to play Ravana," or whatever. So I had to find that space within. Like with one breath or two breaths, I come back. If suppose I'm playing a very, very dark role, which I did, and not many people saw it, thank God for it, and I had to dive deep into my dark crevices, and it was very difficult to come out. But then I learned that method, I learned that approach, practicing for a long time, just to take a breath and come to a lighter space. And in fact, the journey of an actor, I think, is to walk towards lightness in order for me to fearlessly to dive deep into the darkness. So I have anchor, which I am anchored in the lightness, and so I don't fear to go into the darkness. For this role, no, nothing such. It wasn't heavy for me. It was very subtle, very gentle, very, very witty and quirky. And so I had fun. I had fun playing it.
I just want to give a real experience. I will share it, though it's a scene from the film. Now, me being here and in an era where I was not born, the film happens, and now I've heard about Lal Bahadur Shastri Ji, a Prime Minister of this country at that point of time. And to be an officer under him, it was very exciting for me to see him. Though my character is fictional, he's not fictional. But when Shivam or the writers have written it, you see, I wait for him to get into the office. Then as he goes, he's already late. He's come at around 3 o'clock or something. As he goes, he corrects the curtain, goes and sits. And as he is talking an issue, his food comes. He's eating and he says, "Have you guys eaten?" And then he eats, "Sorry, I've had too many meetings and I'm going to eat now." And then he eats his roti and talks. Now this was very beautiful for me, to be entered, Antapur bolte hai na, those spaces, whoever I am, I can't get into that spaces. To be in a make-believe world, to be in that beautiful ecosystem where the whole country is not aware of it, but a Prime Minister and an officer of Mike, this thing, all of these people are working and they're concerned for the country, concerned something to do. Now this is a fictional character, but the situation is so real. Now what are we talking about all this? And how does a writer write it, to bring the simplicity of Shastri Ji, like just a gesture of an actor, just pulling the curtain, going and taking the food and eating and asking them and then talking about it. So, this is the magic I'm saying. This is very new for me for this film. So this film, I saw these sort of magics happening in the film, and I just shared with you that how there's a child in me which loved it. And that's why now, like any other role, this fellow Murthy will stay with me as a good friend of mine. You know?
And hopefully when we watch it, we're going to be as mind blown by the series as you all have told us about. But you know, because we're running short on time, I want to ask you, you know, Shivam sir as well as Jayaprakash sir. So a lot of the times what we've seen is these days there's something called cancel culture, right? So you float something and the social media and you know, unknown faces that you can't see necessarily, they're very quick to pounce, you know, find faults. Does that ever bother you while you're directing something or while you're making something? Does it ever bother you that, you know, in the future there could be cancel culture that could be slapped on the show or on the series? Is that something that bothers you as film directors?
For me, it's never, because when we invested that kind of time into writing the script, we believed in the character, a very simple moment we created, and there is no doubt into those moments, and we enjoyed while shooting the process. There is no question about who is questioning us or not. We are enjoyed that process. I don't think so. I never thought of that. It will come. What about
No, I think, see, because we are not commenting on the politics here. You know, we are looking at them as people like us.
So was that a conscious choice to not be getting into the politics of it?
Well, the story demands that of us. You know, it's never a conscious choice. Everything is a reaction to the script. You know, everything that we do, even the way we are, it's for that the phase of for the production of the film, and then we reincarnate ourselves for the next film that we do. So I think what we found interesting or striking was to find their nuances, as Prakash had pointed out, as human beings, as people, as sensitive people who are affected by, you know, everything around them. So we didn't indulge in the politics of it. That is not what the story is about.
Yeah.
It is about the human story, which somehow gets buried inside these politics. We wanted to resurrect that, you know, get that out.
In one line, sir, if you had to, you know, give a teaser to the camera on what to expect, what should the viewers expect when they switch on Z5 and play the first episode?
Mukhbir, a journey which will enrich you, which will sensitize you, will empower you, will surely make you look at life differently.
What about you, sir? If in one line you could tell the viewers what to expect.
I think it would be wonderful to invite the audience to watch it and tell us how do you feel about it. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's a fascinating story which will keep you on the edge of your seat.
And when can we expect the trailer launch, the official trailer launch, and then the series launch?
The day after tomorrow they are launching the trailer, and the series will be coming on November 11th.
November 11th. Yeah. So our viewers, mark the dates on your calendars. 11th November is when Mukhbir, the story of a spy, is going to be live on Z5. So get ready to tune into this mega blockbuster.
11 को कुछ होने वाला है.
All the episodes will be dropped on 11.
On the same day? All
So
right.
it's a spy thriller by virtue of it has to be binge watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Sit there,
Truly.
finish it, get out at 4 o'clock in the morning.
All right. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us, cast
Thank
as
you. Thank
well
you so
as
much.
a crew of Mukhbir, the story of a spy. And thank you for tuning into NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.